Now, on my picture, you have a picture of the Blessed Father Solanus Casey, who was
That's a
born
good
in
one.
Wisconsin, but who is from Detroit. And I was thinking of several other ones before I got to him, but he's actually one of the American saints, is why I ended up with him.
Good.
And also, he is, still kind of in the process. So anyway, he was born in Wisconsin and he entered the Capuchin Franciscan order in Detroit in 1897. He was very humble, and they call him humble service. Um, and he was known as the doorkeeper because he wasn't really saying, like the masses and things like that. He was a porter opening the door. But what they said is that he ended up making more of an impact just because he was, meeting people at the door and, talking to real people. And everybody would end up, seeking him out over the years. And he was known for his devotion to the Blessed Sacrament. He would also, this is kind of funny. I watched like a longer movie on him, but in the short story, it says he would often play his violin for Jesus in the presence in the tabernacle. What's funny about it is this other movie that was done on him in Detroit on PBS. The other, people from the order were saying he really didn't play his violin very well. He really wasn't a very good musician, but anyway, he liked to do it. And so he did it in the tabernacle all the time. It said that he was diagnosed with something I can't even pronounce, erysipelas, and he died on July 31st, 1957, which was a year after I was born. And they say that his body was found incorrupt 30 years after his death. I take it that that probably means that his body was not decomposed. Do you agree with that, sister?
Yes, yes, Cindy.
Mm.
Okay. And he was declared venerable by Pope John Paul II on July 11th, 1995. Around that time, the Pope had actually visited Hamtramck, where there's a big population of, well, it was a Polish community, but anyway, he came, in the Pope mobile and everything. So it was a big deal here in the Detroit area. But he was beatified on November 11th, 2017 in Detroit. So he's a newer person. Originally, I was going to tell you, like Chuck did, about, Chuck, St. Charles and St. Cynthia. There's two that have a name that is not quite like Cynthia, but some places they give her credit. I guess it must be a Christian name or they wouldn't have named me yet. It also is something that has to do with the stars, I know. And I think Connie actually named me because she liked the name. It was that
Oh,
or Debbie. Um, but anyway, the one saint, and of course they have different spellings on names. Saint Cynthia was dragged by horses when she was martyred, which is not like a very happy tale. Then I looked at Saint Anne, and of course there's Anne with an E and just Anne with two N's, which is me. And of course that's the mother of
I
me.
have the same.
So that's a nice story, a little bit better than being dragged by a horse. And she's like the patron saint of like mothers and labor and different things like that. So, that's nice. The other thing I liked is that in different languages, Anne can, just like Cynthia, can be called different things. The one with the saint that was dragged by the horse, the name was so different that I mean, I wouldn't even recognize it as my name. So I don't want to I have a feeling they probably went with Anne, that they probably just thought Cynthia was a nice name and they went with Anne for the patron saint. And I could have gone with Joan of Arc because, I went to St. Joan of Arc school. And actually, that was a role model burning at the stake or whatever, but she was like a warrior, which, back in the day, there weren't very many female role models like that. So I guess I was fortunate to have Saint Joan of Arc as a saint. But I like this story about like Rhoda Wise. I know she's not a saint yet, but I like the fact that there's a possibility for people. It doesn't have to just be back in history, that it can be, more relatable to us. So now I'm going to show you something else. I did watch a whole thing. Let's see, I got to figure out where it is. Okay. So I'm going to share this. And can you see that? Can you see? This is a Blessed Solanus Casey website, and they called him a servant of the sick and the poor. Blessed be God in all his designs and his mercy, which is above all works. The longer story that was on PBS about him, and again, he's right, over my head. That's what he used to look like, with a big beard and things like that. And he was very well loved. So, and he's on the path to sainthood. So if canonized, he would be the first American-born priest to become a saint. I saw that, Elizabeth Seton, I think, she's an American saint, but she really wasn't born in the United States. So anyway, I think this is a nice saint for me to choose, because he's newer and you might not already know a lot about him. And he has a nice story.